Yo, it's your boy, and today we're about to do yet another My Hero What If. This is what if Deku was or had an omni quirk. Basically, an omni quirk is basically a quirk where you can get anything you want, like any sort of power you want from the quirk. So Deku, he's just that good. So Deku, would be getting his quirk evaluated, and he would pretty much see that his quirk is omni, and him not really knowing what omni is, he would have the doctor explain it to him, and the doctor would pretty much say that he can wish for any ability for any point in time, or actually he can just keep the ability. And Deku, as Deku, he thinks that quirk is pretty cool, so he just has to learn how to activate it, that he can truly become the best hero. Because then he can have any power. So, Deku goes home, and a day later he would go tell Bakugo and the goons about his quirk. Bakugo would still say, "Oh well, I don't know how you're supposed to use your quirk if you're not if you don't know how to turn it on. So it's still technically useless. It doesn't matter how powerful it is if you can't turn it on." So Deku would basically pretty much get mad, and he would start erupting in blue flames as he would fall on the floor. Everybody was like, "Oh, so this is his quirk," and people are starting to get away from him because they're trying to get burned. As teachers would walk up to him, telling him to stop, or telling him to try to control his quirk, at any point in time. Deku quirk stop, but Deku don't stop, using it. Once he used it, he don't stop using it. And the Omni quirk pretty much makes you evil if you use it for a very long time. Like anything like giving you a bunch of power. So Deku, years later, would still have, this little dot of evilness in him. And it would just grow bigger and bigger and bigger over time as Deku used to train with his quirk for 10 years. Deku about to go home from middle school, as the teacher would pretty much say that he was going to go to UA and Baki was going to go to UA. Pretty much it would all happen the same, and Deku would just want to go home. So he was going home, and the Sludge monster, he would pretty much attack him again, and Deku, he would pretty much wish for a stop time quirk, and Deku would pretty much stop time. Well, he didn't stop time because it's a very advanced version. He pretty much made how that quirk works right now. So he wished for that years ago, but he trained it to the point where he can stop time on just things in general. So he would just stop time on anything he would look at. So he would stop time on the Sludge monster. Sludge monster would just be stuck and suspended into the air as All Might would come and get him and pretty much shove him into basically the container. Deku would be excited to meet him as he was turning off his power and asking for his autograph. All Might would give it to him, and he would say bye, and he would just jump off. And All Might pretty much realized what that kid actually did pretty much just stop time on one thing. So, as as Deku would be walking back home, he would just walk home, he'd greet his mom, and the next day he would pretty much train for the 10 months. As Deku would decide to go to Degama Beach because no one's there and his powers kind of destructive because the best powers are always destructive. So Deku would basically go to Degama Beach as he would pretty much start training and clearing up the trash. As All Might would eventually walk by because that's where he was gonna bring his future successor if he were to find one. So as he would pretty much walk up to Deku, he would pretty much walk up to Deku, and he would greet Deku again, and they would meet again, and Alma would ask what was he doing here, and Deku said that he was training for the UA entrance exam, and Alma would be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you what your quirk was back at the Sludge villain incident. So what is your quirk?" And Deku would say omni, and then at first it wouldn't ring a bell, but now as it's being explained to him and how it works, that you can pretty much take quirks and stockpile them, he's like, "Oh shit, oh god, oh no. Could this kid actually be All For One's son?" Cause Omni and All For One have similar quirks in the taking aspect, but not really taking and never getting back. Deku can take it, but he's not taking it from your very existence. He's pretty much taking it and he's using it as his own, but you would still have it. I'm not really believing him because that's an overpowered quirk. So he gets any quirk he would ever wish for. And it probably wouldn't even matter if it was known or not. So All Might would pretty much ask to wish for his quirk. And Deku says, "I don't even know your quirk, so I wouldn't know how to basically wish for it. Because maybe it don't work like stuff like if it's unknown." So Deku would basically get told his quirk, or get told All Might's quirk one for all. As he would pretty much realize, oh, okay, it's one for all. So he would wish for one for all, and now he has one for all. So since he doesn't actually have one for all, he just has the power of it. It wouldn't break his bones. He doesn't have any backlash to the quirks that he basically takes. So as Deku is pretty much time skipped to the point where he's walking and he would trip over the rock and Uraraka would basically save him. He would start flying just a bit, like a couple of feet in his air, and because he would start when he was about to fall. He would basically look at Uraraka for a split second, and he would basically gain her quirk, and he gets the best version of quirks, bro. So Deku would pretty much have full flight, all because of Uraraka's quirk, and Deku Deku would land on the ground as, Uraraka would be like, what? And, Uraraka would go up to talk to him about, like, how he did that. And she would ask, what was his quirk? And Deku would say, it's omni, and I think your quirk might be zero gravity because it literally made me float to the point where I was basically flying. And that's when Uraraka would pretty much start training, or after when she would get into UA, start training. So pretty much since the beginning, she would start training to fly instead of just doing whatever. Like, what did she actually do? But, Deku basically taught her that, and they would have a conversation as they would walk into the UA entrance exam. They would go to the written test, and they would do it, and yeah, Deku would get a good score. He also has an IQ quirk, so he's just that good. I'll tell you the quirks that he has. Fire, ice, obviously. Super speed, super strength. That's a must. And now Uraraka's quirk. And what's his name? Oh yeah, and he also has telekinesis. So yeah, Deku not taking a lot of quirks all the time, but Deku, he has a couple of quirks. Because he knows what it can do. Because he knows, if he keeps on taking quirks, it basically make him evil. So he ain't trying to have that. So Deku is pretty much being explained the robot exam, and as they would get to the gate, he would start trying to talk to Uraraka. He would walk up to him, and what's his name? Ida. He would just he would basically try to stop Deku. As Deku would basically, he says, oh, so I see that you're Ingenium's brother. Okay, yeah, I'm still faster than you. And Ida kind of has this weird look on his face, like, no, you're not. Like, nah. This is weird to Deku, so Deku would just literally just blitz right behind him. Like, just blitz out of his grip. And Ida would just turn around and not even fully seeing him just because how fast he was. Once Deku actually appears into the real world, he actually sees him, and he just has this astonished look on his face as Deku would just walk by and go to talk to Uraraka. They would basically open the gates after that little conversation, and he would just speed off, and yeah. So he would just speed off to the point where he would have like 24 points in like a minute. So he's doing pretty averagely, or pretty good. Deku's getting a bunch of points. Time skip to using telekinesis, flight a little bit, and super strength, super speed, all types of that stuff. Time skip after all that, he would at least have 86 points. Deku would basically be standing on top of a building about to take flight. And, as he would hear a scream, because the 0 Point robot, which he kind of wasn't paying attention to because he don't really care about it. I mean, it can't really hurt him that much. So Deku would basically take off flight off the highest building, and he's pretty much flying, and people are just like, a flying quirk? And even Ida would be like, no, that's impossible. He has a he has a speed quirk and a flying quirk. And other people basically tap into the situation and pretty much say that he has multiple quirks, like telekinesis, super strength, super speed, like all that. So people are like, what is this quirk? And Deku would basically, since he didn't show off fire and ice yet, he decided to basically show off ice first. So he would just have like an ice snake or something like that. Like it would just wrap around, like all the ice would just wrap around the robot and keeping it still so it wouldn't move at all. And Deku would basically gravitate towards the robot as he would hold out his hand in the fire, and he would basically crush it as it's burning apart. And Deku would basically be like, yeah, this is over. And he pretty much helped Uraraka, and plus obviously he's gonna have a healing quirk. I forgot about that because healing quirks, they matter a lot. So he right then and there he wishes that he had a healing quirk, and he just gets how to use it instantly. So yeah, it's pretty simple. So he just uses the healing quirk, and now she's healed, so it didn't really take recovery good to be here. So Deku would just say bye to Uraraka as he would pretty much fly or float away. And Deku days later would get the envelope that he got in. He's pretty psyched by that. So a day later he would get up and he'd be pretty happy to go to UA. As he's at the building, he would look at it and says, this is a pretty cool building, but kind of running late. So he would pretty much jump into the air or fly to the window of the second floor, and eventually he would find the class. And as people saw him, people saw him, especially Uraraka. Like Uraraka saw him do it. He's like, did this man just jump through the window? So he jumps through the window and he pretty much goes to class 1A. And when he opens the door, he doesn't worry about Ida or Bakugo. He just uses telekinesis to turn back the clock to make it seem like he was actually there on time. Then he would just use his speed quirk just to get over into his seat. So Ida and Bakugo, or Ida, didn't really have a chance to talk to him, as they would just hear the door open and shut. And everybody's like, what happened? And Deku would just say, I don't know. As a couple of people, or more like the whole class, would pretty much go up to him and ask him what was his quirk. And Deku, he know that the teacher's there, so he just tries to stop the situation instantly. He just says it's an omni quirk. Bye. I like I'm not trying to talk to y'all right now. So that's when Uraraka pretty much goes into the class, and she would look at the clock for like a second, and she's like, I could have swore I was gonna be late. So she would pretty much walk up to Deku, pretty much thank him for saving her. Yeah, pretty much thank him for saving her. Then Aizawa would wake up and be like, okay, shut up. If you're here to make friends, go home, please. I don't want you here. If you're trying to be a hero, we're not going to the orientation. It doesn't matter, no questions asked. And since when Deku heard we're not going to the orientation, Deku already gone. And even Aizawa was like, okay. So Aizawa says, okay, so please just leave. Wait. Oh, okay. As he would just look at the time, and it was like, okay, it's kind of set back a little, but doesn't really matter. So they would just go outside for the exam, and what would basically happen is, since Deku does have Uraki's quirk, he would get Infinity on the ball for real, and he would go first because he would have the best score on, for saving Uraka for the 60 points, and for having 86 points. So Deku would basically have a perfect score, and he would get Infinity. So would Uraka. So he just kept on getting first because he has the best quirks. Since he does have super strength, he would beat Sato or Sugar Rush in the strength thing, because so he would just beat everybody and everything, and a couple of people would just be mad, like Bakugo. Bakugo don't like him at all because he thinks he just got lucky with the best quirk. It's technically true, but yeah, you kinda need skill to use it. And and Bakugo pretty much like, oh, I don't know why you didn't use my quirk. I don't know why you didn't use my quirk, because, and Deku would just be like, nah, I'm not gonna use a quirk that makes you pretty much throw explosions around like a dumbass, not really worrying about your situation or not worrying about your surroundings. Because that's pretty much what he did in every building he's ever been in. When he has to use his quirk, he's pretty much blown it up multiple parts of it. And it's like, bro, he just be doing it just to do it. Like, and Deku pretty much would say that. Bakugo would get more mad. Todoroki interested in whatever. Like, so Todoroki would actually step in, and he would say, what other quirks do you have? And Deku would say, okay, yeah, I displayed super strength, super speed, and zero gravity. I'm pretty sure that's all I did. And of course, I obviously have ice and fire. Gotta have that. And pretty much they would go around with their day, and the next day they'll be told about the hero versus villain. So